And then a whistleblower comes out to say funds were used to host these special award ceremonies for the cops, helping pay for food, goodie bags for the officers, a Santa sleigh, rented tuxedos. Allegedly, the total cost of the award ceremonies was around $250,000 over the years. That was likely taken from RICO money, is the allegation. The investigation was a big deal, like a really big deal. One of the officers being investigated for transferring funds into his personal account was found dead from self-exit on Father's Day. He was widely considered to be the mastermind of this whole RICO money laundering scheme. Okay, well, I don't know if I would call it a money laundering scheme. This investigation. However, even the death, there were concerns that the death should be investigated independently by a third party because, sure, he might have reason to want to self-exit, but also someone would want him dead because maybe he could go down for everything. That's something to consider, but the sheriff was allegedly adamant that it be handled by his team internally. Sheriff Nanos, that same sheriff, is the one working this case, and some people who know Sheriff Nanos says that he holds a grudge and that he doesn't like the feds after that 2016 investigation. But those are allegations, those are speculations, those are opinions. There are more reports, though, coming out that the sheriff does not want the FBI to take over, which, I mean, it seems like they probably should. And that there's just a lot of annoying things happening in this investigation. First of all, here's the weird thing. There are a few key pieces of forensic evidence that are deemed to be highly important in this case. There's probably more that the public doesn't know about, but the ones that the public do know about is one, obviously the blood tested on the front porch turned out to be Nancy Guthrie's. Second, they do find a pair of gloves 11 days later near the house, off the main highway. They think it could be the gloves used by the perpetrator or perpetrators. It's like those black nitrile gloves. So, I mean, they found a lot of them. So they sent all of them out for testing, and a ton of them turned out to be some of the search workers would just I guess they would put their search gloves into a baggie, and maybe that bag blew away in the wind and they just had scattered gloves everywhere. But that was a key piece of evidence. Then the third key piece of evidence is they did find DNA inside the house, Nancy Guthrie's house, that did not belong to Nancy Guthrie or any of her family members, relatives, or anyone that, I guess, works in that house frequently. But where this information is sent, where this data is sent to be tested for the forensics is really important. Interestingly, the FBI is like, we can take it to Quantico. Why would you not want it tested in Quantico? I don't know anything, but I probably would want it tested in Quantico, okay? But the sheriff is like, no, I'm going to send it to our private lab in Florida. So he sends it to the private lab in Florida. Now, a lot of people had a lot to say about this, but he does, kind of defend his decision. And in a slightly convoluted way, he says, why did we give ours to our lab? Because it's what we've done for years, and our labs always have done well. In fact, we used the FBI before. They're very good at solving things and doing things, but the FBI, not unlike our Department of Public Safety in Phoenix, they have a lab. They could have been used, but we look at it as this. If I use, for example, a state lab, DPS, or the federal lab, Quantico, you have to understand they have others using those labs too. So it really puts a lot of strain on them to prioritize those cases and do what they can with them, where if I have my own lab or a contract lab, it allows me easier access to those cases that I think are important to us.